Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Schoology training. Thank you all for being here this morning. My name is Sarah Scheip. I'm one of the Elementary District Technology Coordinators. And with me this morning is Rachel Moyer, who is one of our Secondary District Technology Coordinators. And so she and I have really been tackling the Schoology from, I think, January, December is when we got the assignment. So we've been working a lot with Schoology and doing lots of different trainings. So we met with Angela this morning and kind of worked out what we thought to be best and most beneficial for you all today. So we're going to go through getting you logged into Schoology. We're going to have you create a course. We're going to show you how to add people to that course, because next year when you're working with students and with teachers alike, that will probably be the best way for you. You'll probably need to manually add people to groups. So we'll show you how to do those pieces today. We do have a Google form for you at the end in case there are any additional questions or any additional supports you need that we will share with you. But I would just recommend that you can use the chat to ask any questions that you have throughout the training. But then also, if you have specific questions like to you, I might jot those down and then add them to the form at the end of our session that we'll share. So we can either get back to you or schedule a follow-up session where we can get some of those specific questions answered for you all. Okay. We are recording today's session, so we will share this with you in an email. We will also share the slide deck with you that we're using to present today. And I will also resend that Google form in that email as well, so you can jot down, again, any of your questions. So we'll go ahead and get started. So I kind of talked about the objective, which is on that next slide there. But just this graphic kind of shows overall Schoology and just some different ideas within Schoology and how people are using Schoology and the benefits. The next slide, if you want to jump down to slide 3, these are what we're considering the improved benefits over using PowerSchool. PowerSchool is kind of going away. So that's why we had to make this move over to Schoology for next school year. It's really no more. They're continuing to have PowerSchool, but they're not making any updates or upgrades to it. So if something's broken, they're not really putting any time or energy or money into fixing it. So we didn't want teachers having to deal with that. So we did make that move. But we find that there's a lot of benefits into moving over. While it is a new platform and it does look a little bit different than PowerSchool does, it has lots of improvements. So one thing that we thought would be really beneficial for you all is being able to add audio or video right to your Schoology page. So some of you that might be working, as an OT, you could demonstrate and do videos right on Schoology on how, modeling something for your kiddos, instead of having to go outside using a different platform or different source or resource to make those videos and then uploading them onto Schoology. You can just, it's a one-stop shop. You can do that right here. Something also, I'm kind of looking at these because they may not all benefit, or all of these upgrades may not benefit all of you, but I think that one will be key. You can, for you all, create separate courses and like within courses, create small groups. And so you can create an assignment for a specific group of students. And so you will be able to differentiate. I know with PowerSchool, you're not really able to do that as well or as easily. And so you will be able to create assignments and assign them only to certain kiddos. So if you've got kids working at different levels, you can assign it to those levels of students. Okay. You can go on, Rachel. Do you want to talk about this one?
Sorry, there's going to be a little bit delayed reaction between the two of us being in the same room. We'll have to wait for one to mute before the other one can unmute to talk. So when we get into Schoology, you're going to see 3 main parts. There's going to be courses. This is where you will spend most of your time. This is where students will spend most of their time. Today, you will be creating a course so you can start setting up for next school year. Then the next section is groups. We will have you join a group today. Groups will be used for the curriculum aspect. There will be clubs for schools. Their sports teams will have pages. There's also a school page for every school. So we'll show you all of that when we get in there. And then there's the resources. This is the basically the drive for Schoology. So this is where you can store content you've made or grab content from other groups and start sending it to your pages. And then it's also where we will connect your OneDrive and your Google Drive. You do not need to know the LMS consistency, as you're not going to be a full-blown teacher needing that pages. But if you do work with teachers and need to see it, they are linked here. And teachers will be grabbing a template so they don't have to start from scratch. And you'll see those today when we get you in our group. So at this point, we want to go out to Schoology. So we're going to have you go to fwcs.schoology.com and get you signed in. And then if you want, once you get signed in, you can come back to the Zoom and we can start to show you around the site, since I know most of you may not have a double monitor.
I'm going to go ahead and put that link in the chat as well, so you can just grab it from there. And you will use your Google to sign in. So we'll give you just a couple seconds to get that, to get yourselves logged in, and then we'll show you around Schoology. Okay. Hopefully everyone is able to access that link and get signed in. If not, let us know, and I'll pause for another second here before going on. Okay. All right, and if you, yeah, I mentioned the chat. Okay, never mind. We've done this so many times, it's hard to keep track of what you've said and what, and so, so we're gonna go ahead and start kind of, again, showing you around Schoology a little bit. We're going to spend a few minutes here in that black bar that's at the very top of our page. So you're welcome to follow along as we walk through on your Schoology account, or you can just watch us as we drive through this. So you'll notice the FWCS icon on the far left-hand side of the screen. This is kind of your home base. You can always click on this and it takes you back to where we just logged in. So you've got two options on this page, your course dashboard where Rachel is right now, and this just shows all of the courses that Rachel is in. You may not see any courses because you don't have anything assigned to you, or you haven't been added to a course yet, and that's okay. We're going to change that today. Next to that is recent activity. And this kind of looks similar to like a Facebook feed or Twitter, where it's just the most recent activity that's been in any account associated with you is going to show up here. So any course that you are a member of, anything that a teacher's added or changed or updated, or a note that's been sent out will update here. So like at the very top, we can see that because Rachel is in Sarah McClure's practice group, she made some updates, and so then it shows up right here on the screen that what those updates are. So right next to the FWCS icon is courses. And courses is where we're going to spend some time today creating a course for you, but again, it's where you'll see your courses. So this is kind of the view that students will see. They'll see exactly what you see. So any course that they are a part of, they'll see that box for them. What we are going to, in some other like Tech in 10 sessions that we have scheduled, we're going to show you how to create these Google Slides. This is just a Google slide on these backgrounds to make it easier to see and for students to find their course. Otherwise, it would look bright if you, not to call it Jenny French or anything, but this one right down here at the bottom, that's what the standard page looks like and course looks like. So if we kept them that way, that's what students would see. And we want them, we want it to stand out a little bit more so it's more easily accessible. So we will kind of show you, and if you're familiar with Google Slides, you can easily do this yourself. We just had a session yesterday, and in our weekly update, there is a Tech in 10 link that will show you how to do that. And it is really 10 minutes. And so if you want to even watch that, you're welcome to do it. And it'll walk you through the steps of creating the slide and then adding it to your Schoology page. Next to courses is groups. Groups is similar to courses like Rachel mentioned, but groups is really just for sharing information. So this would be great for after school clubs, sports. Some of our coaches are creating grade level groups so they can share content and share information, share collaboration tools, collaboration scheduler agendas. And so it's really up to you. You could create even just, Angela, if you wanted to create like a SPED group, you could, where you could just have information that you want to share out with all of the people that you are working with. So that might be a great idea for you, and we can kind of show you how to do that, but you could also create it as a course. Next, we're going to have you join a group. We're going to have you join our integrated teacher resource group. So what you're going to do while you're in groups, and so if you're just watching our screen right now, go ahead and toggle over to your Schoology page and find groups at the top. And we're going to go over to the right-hand side where it says My Groups. And if you're not seeing it, try going full screen on it because it might be hidden. And you're just going to click My Groups. We found that out in our sessions previously, that if you aren't in full screen, seeing your Schoology page full screen, you may not see that My Groups button. So once you're in My Groups, over to the right-hand side, you will see an alphabetized list of groups that you are involved in. Rachel has lots here because we created an admin training group. We've got curriculum groups that we've been added to, and then also our FWCS teacher resource group, which is where we're going to join today. So over towards the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see Manage Groups. There's two options here. One is to join a group or one is to create a group. We're going to join a group today, so go ahead and click that blue Join Group button. And then we're going to join the teacher, the FWCS Integrated Teacher Resource. So once you click Join Group, just go ahead and type in that access code. And Rachel's, I think, going to copy and paste it into the chat. Just use that access code and click Join. And once you join that group, this is what you should see. Give you a second. So what you'll notice on this page, we land on the updates. So automatically we go to the updates page. That way you can see anything that's new and updated. I've added a couple different messages here, just to kind of show people how it works, but also to give information. So two little messages that I have added to our updates. On the left-hand side, you will go ahead, we will see updates. Discussions is right below. So discussions is just that. It's like creating a Facebook post almost. So you could add a discussion and people could respond to that. So if you had a question about something, you could start a discussion there, and then one of us could respond back to you or another teacher. We don't really do a whole lot with albums. Below that is members. So we can see all of the members that have joined our group. The little badges next to people's names indicate that they are admin on this group. And then below that is resources. So we want to point out the resources for you just briefly. There's two right now, like folders that we have on our resources tab. The first one is LMS consistency templates. And again, some of these may apply to you. Some of them you may want to move over to your course, but because your pages will look different than a classroom teacher's page, you may not need all of these. So Rachel, if you want to go down to more templates, we added these in individually. So if any of these folders look appealing to you or something you might want to add, you can grab them from here. So we've got a couple that are just like added separately, like a parent guardian page or class information page. Those may be ones that you want to pull over and add to your page just so you can introduce yourself, tell about yourself, tell about how you're supporting, the student. because parents will be connected to this once their student is connected to this group or this or your course. So you can move folders over by clicking that little gear button on the right-hand side. And we don't have to do this right now. We can walk through this another time. But if you click that gear button, the drop down, you can click, depending, we'll move it to a course. You can do add to course, and then you'll just choose the course you want to add it to. So whatever practice we make today. And we can go back and do this later on. I just wanted to point that out to you. So Rachel, if you go back to that resources button, and you can follow, like they call them breadcrumbs back, but each one of those will take you back to the page before. So we're going to go back to that resources tab. And below the LMS consistency templates are the Schoology resources. So these are resources that are provided by Schoology, different links, supports, videos, articles, any information you might find or you may want to find, you can probably look here. Rachel did point out their YouTube channel. So that has some great videos that they've created. So if you do want to get started past what we share with you today, you could go there and find some videos that might kind of help with any questions or things that you want to do or add to your page. Okay. The resource button up at the top as well is another option to find additional resources. Schoology has resources that they have added as public resources. So anything like lesson plans, templates, icons, and badges, you can find here. So that one is available under the public button there right below personal. We're going to go ahead and while we're here in resources, sorry, Rachel, I think I'm probably not being very good at what I'm explaining. Here's the public resources. So you can, in that search bar, search for anything that you may want to look for. There's probably a lot of SPED resources that are already out there. You could just search in that icon and find some ideas, templates that you could use, things that other SPED teachers have posted and added. You can always add these to your own personal resources and then move them to your page. We're going to go ahead and connect your Google Drive this morning and your OneDrive. So while we're in that resources tab at the top, so I'll give you a second to go back to your school page or your course page. Sorry. Let me rephrase. I'll give you a chance to go back to your Schoology page so you can click on that resources at the top. There we go. That's what I wanted to tell you. We're going to go down to the apps icon at the very bottom there on the left-hand side. And we're going to click that button. What you should see pop up are my resource apps listed there. And right now you should see 3. You should see Google Drive, OneDrive, and YouTube. If you don't see the YouTube one, that's okay. If you don't see your Google Drive or your OneDrive, let us know so we can figure out why that's not connecting. We're going to go ahead and connect our Google Drive first. So all you need to do is click that Google Drive resource app button. It'll, once you hover over it, it'll kind of show up a little bit more. If you click that, approve, there should be a little box that opens off to the right-hand side. Click approve, and then click connect, and it will connect your Google Drive. And unlike Rachel's is very organized. You may see yours not so organized as you connect that. Okay, so we will do the same thing with the OneDrive. If you just click on that, hover over it, click it, you should be able to click approve, and then you may have to click connect again. It's been a minute since we've connected these. Okay. Are we good so far? Any questions that we can answer? Are we pacing okay? Going too fast, too slow? Okay. All right, so Rachel is going to move us over to the right-hand side of the black bar, and she's going to talk about some of these tools and features on that side.
Okay, so we are back up here on this black bar. So you're going to see the magnifying glass first. This is a way to start searching through your entire LMS for different assignments or maybe different documents you've shared, and it's just going to start populating all the different places they are at. So if I want to type in like sandbox, it's going to start to show me all the sandboxes I am connected to. Or if I type in dog, I can see, oh, I have one assignment called dog versus cats. So it's a great way to start trying to search for your drive, not your drive, your Schoology, if you don't remember where you might have put something. Then the next one on the black bar, this is the Foursquare Waffle. This is the app center where we can connect third-party sites such as Edpuzzle, Pear Deck, what's another one? Nearpod. So we are working on those connections because those can be embedded within Schoology pages so the students don't have to go out to those sites. So like YouTube, that is one that is currently embedded for you. So if you have a YouTube video and you want a student to see it, it will embed in Schoology so the student doesn't have to go out to YouTube. So then the next one is the calendar. So if you start to create events or assignments, they're going to populate here. If you're in other courses, they will appear here as well. If you want to create right within here, if you hover over a date, you can just hit that plus and you can create it from right within here. So then the next one on the toolbar is the messaging center. This is probably going to be a great tool for you because anyone who is a member of your course, you will be able to send a private message to. So if you have parents join your page, you can send them messages. And what's really great, so let's get into a message. So it's going to have that date and timestamp on there for you so you can start to see and have that history of that conversation with that parent or even that student. Now, students can't talk to each other, but they can talk to adults in the pages they are connected to. So they can't message each other on here. So when you do send a message, you can attach a file from your computer. If you want to send a link, you can send a link. This little filing cabinet, this is going to connect back up here to resources. And this is where you can pull content from other pages. You can pull from your Google Drive, your OneDrive. And then this option, you're going to see it numerous times when you're creating content in your pages. This is an option to add an audio message or a video recording of yourself. So we think this is going to be very beneficial to your work. And then you can just send your message and you'll have that history. And then you can also toggle over to see who you have sent messages to as well. And here in a little bit, we're going to show you how to connect this to get notified outside of Schoology because we know we won't be in Schoology all the time and we don't want to miss imperative messages from families. So the next one on the toolbar is the bell. This is your notification center. This also seems very social media-like in how it appears. So this is a quick way to see all the different notifications that are happening on your course or in courses you are in. And then you can obviously view all of them if there are not enough showing for the day. So the next part, this is going to be very key to you as well. This is going to be your profile, and then it's going to show you the building you're connected to. I believe a lot of you are connected to Anthus. So you will probably see the Career Center page, and then you don't have to scroll as many as I do, but then you will see settings. So the first area I want to dive into under here is your profile. So I'm sure many of you have seen that people have profile pictures, and when you look at members, you can see their profile pictures. In here is where they are uploading their picture. They just hover over this icon and change it. We do recommend putting a profile picture instead of the generic because in Schoology, it's really hard to tell the difference between a parent, teacher, and student. So that's why we recommend having a profile picture. So coming back over here to your name, so we were just in profile, then you're going to see a school page. This page will be viewable by staff, parents, and students. So schools will be utilizing this to share information and documents with their families, similar to what we do on the websites. So back up here under your name, when we get into settings, this is going to have a lot of stuff for you to dive into. Now may not be the time to do it because it can be a bit overwhelming to try to decide what you want, but I want to show this to you. So this first tab, this is going to populate your account information. This is pulled from our school system. So it's going to pull the first name we have on file, but if you have a preferred first name, this would be a spot to put that in there so it appears in your Schoology account. Make sure you save changes so we don't lose anything. If you would like to share your Schoology calendar with your Outlook calendar, that can be found here in settings to enable that connection. And then down here at the bottom, you're going to see other options. So this is where you decide when you get into Schoology what you want to see. Do you want to see that recent activity that shows all the different updates in the courses and groups you're in? Or do you want to land on that course dashboard so you can start clicking through the different courses you are in? So there is no mandate on which one you want. It's completely up to you to save the changes. And then coming back up to the top, we are going to toggle over here to notifications. Notifications, this is a key one to you and how you get information from your page. So this is where you can decide if you create an assignment and someone turns in a submission for that assignment, you can get an email to tell you that someone submitted an assignment so you know to go check it. So if you look, there's different academic options, social groups, public groups, school, and then there's even personal information for you. So this one I think will be imperative to your team. So if you receive a private message on Schoology, you can receive an email or you can receive a text message. Now the text message, it's not going to have the message, but it's going to tell you you've received a message on Schoology. So then you know to go read that message. Another key factor that will help you is there is a Schoology app for Android and iPhone users that you can get on your phone and sign into. From that app, you are able to get into your messages. So that would be a quick way to respond to a message you received. And to make that phone connection, when you're in notifications, that connection is over here on the right, and there's a few prompts you will have to follow to connect your phone. So as I said just a little bit ago, I would definitely take the time to decide what different notifications you want, don't want, or which ones you want email, which ones you want phone. So this is definitely some stuff you'll want to dive into after our training. And we would be happy to answer any questions as you're diving into that. And then the last one I want to show you is the recycle bin. So in our old system, if you deleted something from your course page, it essentially was gone forever unless you got it within minutes. So the nice thing here is everything I've ever deleted from my pages are stored. And so then I can just restore them back to my page. So your stuff is never gone in Schoology. It is there forever. I think in our training, someone said she's been in Schoology for 5 years. So she has 5 years worth of stuff in her recycle bin. So it's a great feature for you. So that was everything on the top. So before I go any further, do you have any questions?
Rachel is going to lead us next into creating a course. And so if you have any questions about any of this stuff, now is the chance to ask.
Yeah, you can unmute or put it in the chat or anything. As stuff pops up, please feel free to just put it in there. So if we're all feeling pretty good, we're going to go ahead and create that sandbox. So essentially what a sandbox is, it's going to be your course. Later, we can change its name, or we can create another course where you start sending your actual stuff to. Schoology just has us create sandboxes for people to start to explore, maybe build their content, or if you collaborate with someone and you need to work together, this is a spot where everyone can come together, work together, and then from that page, you can start to shoot it to your actual courses. So we're going to come back up on the black bar to courses. So if you could hit courses, and then any courses you are in will appear, or you may not have any right now. But over here on the right, you will see my courses. We're going to hit that my courses. So here's another way to see all the different courses that you are in. Now, if it's a school course, such as a teacher's course, I know you'll be working with some teachers in their pages. So if this was a math class, it would have the math class that's in our gradebook system. And then it would have like the teacher section number and section period they teach it. So that's how they would be listed. So for this training, we are actually going to create a course over here on the right. So I'm over here under Manage Courses, and we're going to create a course. So I would name it either your first name, last name, and then Sandbox. For section name, you can put Sandbox, Demo, Practice, whatever you think will help identify it. Oops, there we go. And then for subject area, you can choose whatever subject you want. There's special education. You can do professional development. Now for level, you can put none. If you want to put, I work with multiple grades, or I do all primary, secondary, I do higher education. But if you do work with multiple, let's say you work with second, but then I also work all the way up to 6th grade. So I can put that range of 2nd to 6th grade. And then the final part to set up your course is this grading periods. We're going to scroll down in this box, and we're going to select professional development. So once you have all these parts taken care of, you have it named, you have a section, you chose a subject area, you did your level, then you chose that grading period, you're going to hit create. So it's going to create your page, and then it's going to send you to your page. I'll give you a minute to do that.
And if you've already created your page, and so you don't have to just wait on us, you can kind of click through these and explore a little bit while you're waiting for us to go on to the next section. We will go through all of these, so don't feel like this is it. So we will go through these and kind of walk you through things and show you around.
Yeah, we're just trying to give you time to get it set up. We don't want to go too fast because this is a lot of information. Okay, so while you may be finishing up, I'm just going to kind of explain this layout. So every course that is created, whether it's created by the district or as we just did, we created our own, they all pretty much look the same here. So you're going to have this course icon over here. So as we said earlier, this is that standard course icon. We do ask that if you have an icon, you do a personal background and you put your name, what you teach. So if you're OT, just put OT, or you could actually spell it occupational therapy. Now that I'm thinking about that, sorry. So you can connect it all just to make it easy for those littles to try to find your page. Here in a bit, I will share a template with you so you can grab that and easily make it for yourself. And then it will have your name for your course right here. So this is my Sandbox demo. There's going to be an add materials area. So I know in the old system, when you did add materials, you would have 3 different areas that you could add content. The nice thing about Schoology, when you add materials, it gives you all of your options in one spot. You don't have to click through to see all your different options. So that is a definite benefit to us switching. So right here in this big area, this is where your content will be for the student. So normally we're used to on the left having the different pages that we navigate through and then having all the different content blocks. But in Schoology, we're going to create a folder to represent our page. And then that folder is going to open up into all of our different content. So it is a little bit different of a format. So on the left, you're going to notice that we have more options than we did in groups. So right underneath your course icon, you're going to see course options. So this is where you can send messages to members of your course that you have added. You can edit the info for your group. So this would be really good to explain what your group is and the purpose. So under details, you can put a description right here of what your course is for. There we go. And then you can hit here to go back to your course. So getting back on our page, we have materials. So when you are on this materials tab, it's going to show all of the content of your course. Then we have updates. So if you have an announcement you need to share, such as today I'm out sick, please go to this work instead. This would be a great place to put that. And then if you hit right here, it's going to give this an announcement and it's going to mark it at the top of your page. So you can put, I'm out today, please check your messages. You can mark it as important and then hit post and it's going to put it here. But when I come back up to materials where my students are going to land, they're going to see right here, here's my message that I'm out today. Please check your messages. And then it's going to say I have one update now. You don't need to worry about gradebook setup. We haven't connected that right now. We are still going to use Power Teacher Pro for those who work with teachers. Right now, Power Teacher Pro is connected to Learning. So we have to break that connection to connect it to Schoology. So this summer, you will start to see different sessions on gradebook integration. Then there's badges. So if you want to give badges to your students, this would be the place to add them and start assigning them to students. Kids love badges. They like to brag. Attendance, if you have to take attendance, we do not have this connected because we do want to keep using Power Teacher Pro. We don't want to make teachers have to go back and forth between systems. So we are just still saying, please use Power Teacher Pro for your attendance. And then we are going to get into members. So members, this is going to be key for what you're doing because you do not have students assigned to you in our course system. They will not automatically be put into your different courses. So I'm assuming you had to do that in Learning as well. You had to manually add your students. You're going to have to manually add as well in Schoology. But the fantastic thing with Schoology is you can actually start to group the kids into different groups and they can actually be in multiple groups. And that's going to help you do that different assigning within groups. So I'm actually going to switch courses to one that has students. And I actually don't even see my page. So I'm going to have to go to My Courses. Go to my sandbox. There it is. So here's one that's a little more set up to show you more. So this is what you will see in a teacher's page. So here's the folders that open up to the different content, just to give you an idea of what it would look like. But going back over here to members. So if you look, I am the admin, I control my group, and I have students that I've added. But let's say I get a new student and I want to add them. So I'm going to come up here to add members. And then you can start to type and search. So this is where we're not sure how it's going to look for you. Are you going to be connected to everyone in Fort Wayne Community Schools? Or are you going to be connected to the students at Career Academy? So once students are in the system, we will have to work with you to see what you see to get your role modified in the system so you're able to find your students. So for right now, you can see staff. So if you have a coworker you work with, this would be a good time to maybe add them to your page to have that fake student in there. If you're not comfortable adding a coworker, Sarah or I would be happy to be your student. We won't dive into your page, but it will help you to have that different aspect of having students in there. So I'm going to make Steve Armstrong my student. So I just select him and then I add that member. So now he is a member in my course. So from here, I could actually hit that gear, send him a message. I could actually preview the course as just Steve, or I could make him an admin. So if you do add a coworker and you want them to have the ability to add content, you would just make them an admin through here. So
sorry, I was just going to say, a lot of people have asked like how we can view as a student. That's how you can view as a student. You would click on the student in your class and then just click that preview button. And then you would see what they would see. So if you click that right now, Rachel, it'll even tell you at the top, you are previewing. This is how it looks to Steve Armstrong. So then that would be your student view. And then to go back, you just click that back to course button and you're back to viewing it as the teacher. Okay, that's all I wanted.
That is one way to view the course. Here in a little bit, I'll show you a second way. But the reason it had that option to view course as, and I could say which student, is because you are able within a course. So if you look, I have 4 students. I could assign 4 students 4 different things on my page. So all of their pages would look different to them. So to check it, that's why I can, in that preview course, decide who I want to look as. So once I have my students in, I may want to group them into different groups because I might work on this OT skill. They might be working on this. So I might want them in that same group to assign based on that skill. So over here, you should see organize members into grading groups, and you're going to add that grading group. You can name it whatever it is, whether it's a skill or, as you saw, I had, I think, the stars, the seashells. We'll put the cadets. So then it's going to start to show all of your students in your roster. So if I want Steve to be in the cadets and then Eric, because they're working on a skill together, I'm going to put them in there and then create that grading group. So then over here, you can see all of my grading groups, and I can start to get in there to, let's see the stars. Who do I have in the stars? Okay, I have Sarah and Sarah. Well, Sarah has completed a skill, so maybe I need Eric to now start that skill so I can change the groups or keep adding people. And you can be in multiple groups. So I could add Sarah Shipe to every single group if she needs all of those skills, or you can create a group of just someone alone. Does that make sense? I don't want to go beyond this if there's any confusion. And when you create that assignment, you can start to type in those groups and they're going to pop up and you can select that group and it's going to pull those students into that assignment that you're creating.
And I think this is definitely one we could come back to more towards the beginning of the school year once you have students, because like Rachel said, you won't see students listed here. So this is definitely one that we could revisit with you all at the beginning of the year once we have students in Schoology so that you can create those groups. So like I mentioned in the chat, maybe and the nice thing for you all is that you're creating your pages manually. So you can really add in all of your students on one page. So you're only maintaining one page, but then group them out into skill level or grade level or however you are most comfortable working with them or how you usually work with them. But this is definitely something we can come back to, because I know it's maybe like, how did we do that back in April? So don't feel like you have to remember all of this right now.
I do not believe they can see the other group names. I think it's just based on what you can see as the admin. Sarah, since you're a student in my course, would you like to go to my course and members and see if you can see how I have students chunked? I will have her look into that. See, this is the fun part when you have coworkers in your page, you can kind of play around. And that's what teachers are doing as well. They're like, I want to create an assignment early, but I don't want the kids to see it. Does that work? So they're having us test it out for them. So it's a lot of playing around. You can't break this. Just keep practicing. So I wanted to show you that second way to see the course as a student. So if you're back in your materials and you've added a bunch of content or you added a new assignment and you only sent it to like one kid and you want to see if that student sees it, you would just hit course options, view course as. And then I can select from this drop down, okay, I just assigned it to Sarah. Does she see it? Or can Steven see it because I don't want him to see it? So this would be a way to double check that. Sarah, were you able to see my? Yeah, Sarah cannot see how I have students grouped.
I even tried clicking on another student. I tried clicking on Sarah's name and it said private access only. So it won't even let me do anything outside of myself. So if I did not see any indication, even really as to what groups I was assigned to on the page. So that's kind of all done behind the scenes. And so I didn't see who was in groups or what groups I was involved in.
At this point, if we don't have any more questions about what we have done at this point, I will let Sarah take over to show how you can start to add some different content to your page.
Okay, so we're going to go back up to the top of the page and we're just kind of, oh, sorry. Rachel has an announcement at the page. And so below that announcement that you see up there is a Google slide that Rachel has added. So when her kids click on Monday, it will take them to their Monday folder. So we're encouraging classroom teachers to use this because if they have daily things that they add to their Schoology page, it's just this easy navigation for students. If you have something special that you want your students to always have access to, so you might have some practice websites, or you might have a Bitmoji classroom or something like that, you can put this in as an announcement and it will stay at the top. And the way that we have embedded it, anytime you update it on your Google slide, it will automatically update here as well. That's an additional training that we can provide for you, or even just a quick video on how to do something like that. But below that announcement, you'll see a couple different boxes there for add materials and options. And Rachel kind of went through those a little bit earlier today, but if we click on that add materials button, you'll see a drop-down menu come up. And this is where you can add different things. So when we're thinking about Schoology compared to PowerSchool, when we click that add a folder, that's similar to adding like a page over on the left-hand side of PowerSchool. So you know how we had the welcome page, the parent-teacher page, or parent-guardian page, the support page, all of those pages on the left, that's how I kind of view the folder. So when you're creating a folder, you can give it any title that you want to. Maybe you want to title it first grade or second grade, fourth grade, units, however you best work and are used to working, you can title it there. You can change the folder color as well to reflect. If you have a color coding system, you can have it reflect there. And then you can add a description to this folder, telling yourself or your students what's included in it. You can publish these folders. Oh, thank you. If you go along the top, that's kind of your toolbar for that box. So if you want to bold anything, change the font size or style, the insert content box is great because this is where you could add in like a picture image or pull in something from your Google Drive. Okay. You're fine. You want to what? Oh, okay. She's trying to find a picture. So you can add in different items that way as well. So this is nice too, just for like icons, if you want to add an icon to indicate where to go first or where to start, what reading that they need to do. You can publish these. And so if you want to get started, but it's not something you're going to use until, you know, next November, you can post date these almost, so it won't come out and be published for students to see until that time. You can even do by like time. So if you don't want them to have access until like 8 o'clock that morning, you can time it out as well. If you want it to close on a certain day or certain time, again, you can do that as well by changing just those dates and times. Once you're ready to create your folder, oh, go ahead. You can do published and unpublished. And so publish on the start date, publish during the date range. You would click those options depending on what you've added in those boxes at the top. And then you can click create. And it will create that folder for you. If you want to edit these or change these, you can always go into it by clicking that gear. So if you want to change the name, you can go in and edit it. If you're like, oh, I just want to start from scratch, you can delete that box as well, that folder. And this is where you can also individually assign things. So you can add your students there that you've selected or your groups. I'll let Rachel do that and then click next. And then you'll click assign. Okay, so lots of options with that. You can add pages within these folders. So what I think about pages is that content block. And so when we would add content blocks to PowerSchool, that's how I see the page option in Schoology. So now once I'm in that folder, this is where I can create more content. This is where I could also just add in a Google slide if that's what I'm comfortable using. You can create folders within folders. So I could add another folder in here if I wanted to in my unit 2, adding and subtracting. Maybe I wanted to have an adding and then a subtracting folder. You can add assignments, assessments, discussions, and then that add page is what I was referring to earlier with the content block. So if you click add page, this is almost like your text block on PowerSchool. So you'd give your page a title. And then again, in that blank box, you could type out a message to your students. But if you scroll over again, I'll go ahead and let her finish that. Give your directions in that box. You can go over and scroll to that box again where we were working before in our folder to insert the content. And again, I can pull in an image. I could add a YouTube link, pull something from my Google Drive. So I can do that right here. Down at the bottom of that box, oh, I'll wait till she does that. Oh, you're fine. I'll let Rachel play. You what? I think it's just moving slowly. So again, this is where you can just pull anything from your drive over that you wanted to share with your students. Down at the bottom, you'll see some different options as well. And again, this is just for bringing in a file or adding a link, pulling something from your Schoology resource, your personal one that you may have found something on the public Schoology resources that you've added to yours, you can add that in here. So this is kind of getting into like next level Schoology stuff, but that's where you can do your audio and video recordings as well. Okay, and you just click, oh, then that will allow you different options of how you want to display it. If you want students to open your page to see everything, you would display on a new page. If you want them to see everything as soon as they open the folder, they'll display in line, and then you can click create. Okay, so what we posted and what we had in that box is then what students will see. So again, this is digging in a little bit more into Schoology and really how to add in that content. But we just wanted to kind of give you an overview and just a brief, well, this really wasn't brief, an explanation of the various things that you can do with Schoology. Yes, if you want to rearrange your folders, because they automatically, anytime you add something new, it'll move to the bottom of your page. So you saw Rachel added that unit 2, so it automatically gets moved to the bottom of the page. If you want to move it to the top, Rachel's just going to go down and kind of hover over it, and she's just going to drag it and move it up to where she wants it housed. So if she wants to move that unit 2 to the top, she could move it to the top of her page if she chose. She could move it within a folder. So if she already had a unit created and she just wanted to move this into that already created unit folder, she could do that as well. So it's pretty easy to navigate and to move things around, so don't feel like you get stuck where something is. I know we gave a lot to you this morning. And again, we will use that form that you will fill out at the end to kind of guide any additional sessions that you may be interested in having. So what we're going to do, we're kind of wrapping things up. So we'll leave some time for questions here at the end. But we will be sending out to you this video recording so you can go back and rewatch if you need to, rewatch certain parts. We will be sending out the slide deck that we started this session with, and there's some additional slides that we did not go over, but it does show you and walk you through how to do some things that we talked about today. And then we'll also be sending out that Google form where you can ask additional questions, and we can either just reach out to you individually or even with a frequently asked questions page to share it out with a group. Okay, so we'll leave some time here. I know we've got about 4 minutes that we'll leave for any questions you might have, or Angela, if you wanted to share anything. I don't know if you had any thoughts you wanted to share with anybody about, you know, your expectations or what, you know, anything like that. Not to put you on the spot.
No, it's okay. One of the questions that I forgot to mention this morning was, just like Rachel has that page set up with a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. When we started the LMS at the beginning of the year, and then the district said, we need everyone's cover page to look like this so it's similar for parents and students to navigate. Is that still going to be an expectation?
So there is an LMS consistency document that has been shared, and all of the templates that are in the elementary and secondary folders on the FWCS integrated teacher page that group that we had you all join, those templates are available there as well that show the different things that teachers are expected to have. We've had a lot of questions though from like building SPED teachers and like building ELL teachers as to what's going to be expected for them to have on their page. This, I would say, is an expectation, this first like teacher page, and that's where we talked about the course icon that's in the corner. That will be expected to be changed to reflect your class. As far as what SPED teachers are required to have, we're kind of going on a building basis, or if that's something that you want to talk to us about, Angela, like we can totally do that too, and kind of create a document for SPED teachers. So there is some of that consistency because we know they don't need the same things that classroom teachers need and shouldn't be expected to maintain all of those same things, especially for the kids that they have in different buildings and such. But I do see that there would be a benefit to having a consistency among everyone in your group. That way it is easy for parents to navigate, because you might have some parents that, you know, some kiddos that are in OT and they're in, you know, a SPED class, and, you know, they've got several different courses. So that might be nice for them to know how to navigate those types of things. So we can absolutely, Rachel and I can sit down with you if you want to, and we can talk about that. That's a great question.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions that anybody has?
So I'm dropping into the chat the elementary consistency, the secondary consistency, just so you have those documents. And then within the secondary, there is a slide deck that kind of breaks it down into the different steps. So slide 3 is really the one you're going to want to pay attention to, because this is all about that course icon, which is going to be consistent across the district, where you create that unique background. And we just did it in a slide, inserted an image or color or picture. And then I just put my course name, the content area I teach, my name, if I work with a specific grade, or if you want to put your actual job title, that could go there. And then we provided a template that you can grab and use. And we provided as much as we could to show you how to do it. Such as the next slide will show you how to save that image from your slide deck and insert it into your Schoology page as your course icon.
And I would say to the group that's participating in this session, please fill out the Google form that Rachel and Sarah has created and will be sent to you so that we can guide the needs for us specifically. We wanted to have them meet with us as a team and a department because our needs are a little different than building needs. So this is an hour overview, but get in there, play around in your sandbox. You're not going to hurt anything. And then, fill out that Google form of what it should look like going forward. And then we'll get that scheduled. So, just make sure you fill that out and give us feedback so that we can guide the next training. Are there any questions from anyone? I know I've got OTs, I've got case managers, I've got ISFs that are teacher ISFs, and I've got ISFs with caseloads. So I've got them all on here, Sarah and Rachel. So,
okay. And if you do fill out the form initially, and then you're like, oh, I've got one more question, go back in and fill it out again. You're not going to mess anything up. That's just a great place for us to catch all of those questions and thoughts and needs that you all might have, because like Angela said, like you guys are specific and you have specific needs compared to a classroom teacher. So we want to make sure that, we provide you with all of the answers that that you may have, or answers to the questions you might have. Okay.
Okay, Rachel and Sarah, thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all for joining us this morning and taking time out of your day. We really appreciate it. Please reach out to Rachel or myself if you have any questions that you didn't get added to the form or what have you, but we will work on getting this document out to you. I would probably say tomorrow, maybe. We've got lots of trainings and meetings and things like that going on right now. So we are working our hardest to get things out in a timely manner, but be expecting that, by the end of this week, again, so you can start filling that out for us, and we're getting that feedback. So thank you very much. Go off and enjoy the rest of your Thursday, Friday Eve, and we will see you all another time. So thanks for being with us today.